do a few meditation exercises. All these exercises can be done in any posture, walking, sitting, talking, lying down. But today, of course, in this session, we will do it in the sitting posture because that's easiest. But first, drop all our thoughts. Also drop the thinker, the person that's thinking all the thoughts. Totally drop everything. Next, we adjust our posture. If you are sitting on a chair, try to keep both the sole of the feet on the ground firmly. Keep the two soles of the feet parallel to each other. If you are sitting on a floor cushion, try to keep the two knees and the buttock, the 3 points on the chair or the cushion. Keep the back straight but relaxed. Drop the two shoulders. Imagine that there's a string tying the head up so that the head don't drop. The hands, you can put one on top of the other on the hips or putting them on the knees, facing up or down. Important thing is to be comfortable and relaxed. You may choose to close the eyes or half close or open the eyes. If you are sleepy, please open the eyes. If you are restless, then maybe close or half close the eyes. Now that we have adjusted the body, next we'll adjust the mind. Bring the mind to the present moment, to the here and now. Just feel the aliveness, feel the presence. From this presence, aliveness, put your attention on your breath. Just aware of the breath. No breathing in, no, we know that we are breathing in. Breathing out, we know we are breathing out. If you are sleepy again, put more attention on the in-breath so that it makes us more alert. If you are restless, put more attention on the out-breath. It's like sighing. It will make you more relaxed. Once you have no more sleepiness, no more restlessness, just simply know the breath as it goes in, know the breath as it goes out. Do not control the breath. Just let it flow naturally in, naturally out. Breathing in, we know we are breathing in. Breathing out, we know we are breathing out. If the breath becomes more subtler, that's good. Don't try to make it more gross, more clear. When it become more subtler means the mind more calm, the mind become more subtler also. Continue to know the breath as much as you can. Breathing in, we know we are breathing in. Breathing out, we know we are breathing out. Do not control the breath, let it be natural. Just know as much as you can. If you know 1%, let it 1%. If it's 2%, let it be 2%. Just know as much as you can. As you're aware of the breath going in, aware of the breath going out, notice that the breath keeps changing. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow. sometimes deep, sometimes shallow, sometimes in, sometimes out. The breath is impermanent, anicca, it keeps changing. So we don't have to be afraid of whatever is happening to the body or the breath because it will pass. As you continue to be aware of the breath, notice that we have no full control over the breath. So it's not fully satisfying, that's dukkha. As you continue to be aware of the breath, notice that since we can't fully control the breath, we can't claim ownership of the breath. We don't own the breath. We are not the breath. There is a breathing process, but there is no breather. So we don't have to have the burden of owning the breath or the body. That's anatta or non-self. As you're aware of the breath, notice that awareness, the knowing of the breath, is always calm and peaceful. No matter what happened to the breath, as long as you stay with awareness, it's always calm and peaceful. As you continue to be aware of the breath, notice that your experience of the breath is dependent on your mental state. Mind more calm, the breath is more peaceful. Mind more less calm, more restless, the breath is more restless. From the breath, we move to body sensation. Just aware whatever body sensations you might have. Could be the weight of the body on the chair or the cushion, the hardness of the body, the solidity of the body, the heat in the body, coldness of the body, tingling sensations in the body. Just aware whatever body sensations that you can feel, but don't have to label it, don't have to give it a name, don't have to change it. Just aware whatever body sensations that arise and pass away. Notice that it doesn't matter whatever body sensations you have, the minute it arises, it will cease. Every body sensations that arise will cease. New body sensations will arise again and cease because it's impermanent, anicca. So we don't have to be afraid of any body sensations because whatever body sensations we have, it will pass away. Just aware as body sensation comes, body sensation goes. There might be similar body sensation that comes again, but it will go. As you continue to be aware of the body sensation, notice that we can't fully control the body sensation. We only have a choice on which part of the body to pay attention to. Since we can't fully control, it's not fully satisfying, that's dukkha. As you continue to be aware of the body sensation, notice that since we can't fully control the body sensations, we can't claim ownership of the body sensations. So it's not my leg is painful, there's a sharp sensation on the leg. By not claiming ownership, we have less suffering and we don't have to have the burden of the ownership. That's anatta or non-self. As you continue to be aware of the body sensation, notice that the awareness, the knowing of the body sensation is always calm and peaceful, no matter what body sensations you might have. As you continue to be aware of the body sensation, notice that the experience of the body sensation is also dependent on the mental state. Mind more calm, body sensation is more calm. Mind more restless, body sensation more restless. From body sensations, we'll move to emotion. Just aware whatever emotions you might have. Could be happiness, sadness, boredom, excitement, or no emotion. That's also a type of emotion. Just notice, aware whatever emotions you have. Notice that every emotion that arises immediately will cease. So we don't have to stop any emotions or fight with any emotions, because whatever emotions we have, the minute it arises, it will pass. Because it's impermanent, anicca. Similar emotions might arise again, but it will pass. Every emotion that arises automatically will cease. As you continue to be aware of the emotions, notice that we have no full control over the emotions. We only have a choice on which emotion to pay attention to. That's dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. As you continue to be aware of the emotions, notice that since we can't fully control the emotions, we can't claim ownership of the emotions. We are not our emotion. So we are not angry. We only have anger emotions that arise and pass away. We are not sad. We have sad emotions that arise and pass away. When we don't claim ownership of the emotions, we don't have to have the burden of the ownership. We don't have to suffer. That's anatta or non-self. As you continue to be aware of the emotions, notice that the awareness, the knowing of the emotions is always calm and peaceful, no matter what emotions we have. As you continue to be aware of the emotions, notice that the experience of the emotions is dependent on the mental state. Mind more calm, the emotions more calm. Mind more restless, emotion more restless. From emotions, we'll move to thoughts. Just aware whatever thoughts you have. If you have no thoughts, just put your attention on the last place where the thoughts disappear. Otherwise, just aware as thoughts arise and pass away. Don't have to know the content of the thoughts. Just know as thoughts come, thoughts go. Notice that every thoughts that arise automatically will cease. We don't have to fight with the thoughts. We don't have to stop any thoughts. We don't have to control the thoughts. Every single thoughts that arise will cease. Similar thoughts might arise again, but it will cease again. because all thoughts are impermanent, anicca. No thoughts remain constant. Every single thought that arises will cease by itself. As you continue to be aware of the thoughts, notice that we have no full control over the thoughts. We only have a choice on which thoughts to pay attention to. Since we have no full control over the thoughts, it's not satisfying, that's dukkha. As you continue to be aware of the thoughts, notice that since we can't fully control the thoughts, we can't claim ownership of the thoughts. Again, we are not angry, we only have angry thoughts. We are not upset, we only have upset thoughts. We are not afraid, we only have fearful thoughts. And we don't claim ownership of the thoughts. We don't have the burden of the ownership, and we don't have to suffer. That's anatta or non-self. As you continue to be aware of the thoughts, notice that the awareness, the knowing of the thoughts is always calm and peaceful, no matter what thoughts we have. As you continue to be aware of the thoughts, notice that our experience of the thoughts is dependent on the mental state. Mind more calm, the thoughts more calm. Mind more restless, the thoughts more restless. Now just stay with awareness. Doesn't matter whether it's awareness of breath, body sensation, emotion, thoughts. Just stay with awareness. Notice the calmness, peacefulness of the awareness, the childlike, carefree innocence of the awareness. Allow this peace and calm to flow into every single cell in the body, wishing every cell in the body to reconnect with this natural peace and calm, to reconnect with this childlike, carefree innocence, to reconnect this, to be well, happy, healthy, and strong, to be at ease. Can visualize a smile in your face, in your heart, in all the cells. Continue to allow this good energy to flow out to all your loved ones, family members, relative friends, wishing each and every one of them to reconnect their natural peace and calm, to reconnect their childlike, carefree innocence, to be well, happy, healthy, and strong, to be at ease. Continue to allow this good energy to flow out further to our neighbors, our colleagues, people at work, people we meet at market, supermarket, people that take care of our electricity, water, rubbish, wishing each and every one of them to reconnect their natural peace and calm, to reconnect their childlike, carefree innocence, to be well, happy, healthy, and strong, to be at ease. Continue to allow this good energy to flow out further to all humans, regardless of race, religion, nationality, ethnic. Wishing each and every one of them to reconnect their natural peace and calm, to reconnect their childlike, carefree innocence, to be well, happy, healthy, and strong, to be at ease. Continue to allow this good energy to flow out further to all beings, all devas, Dhamma protectors, guidance deities, all heavenly beings, all seen and unseen beings. Wishing each and every single being to reconnect their natural peace and calm, to reconnect their childlike, carefree innocence, to be well, happy, healthy, and strong, to be at ease. May all beings be well and happy. For the last exercise, bring your attention back towards yourself, just aware of your own self. If you have difficulty, you can put your attention to the point at the back of the head, but preferably just aware of your own self. And you can ask yourself, who am I or what am I? We'll sit for another minute. Just aware of your body. If you can slowly aware of the body. For those who have closed the eyes, you can slowly open the eyes. You can rub your hands and put on the face if you want to. Okay, again, if there's any questions, sharing, feedback, please do unmute and share, or you can type in the chat box. Okay, we'll start with the slides, Zizhen. Last week, I keep forgetting the slides. Zizhen, can you please show the slides? Also, next 2 weeks, there won't be any sessions. Okay, so 12 and 19, there won't be any sessions. Zizhen, are you there? Can you please show the slides? Any questions or sharing while waiting? Anyone sharing questions, feedback? Zizhen, are you there? Questions, sharing? Okay, while waiting, let me go through some points. Firstly, like I said last week, if you all come across any short videos related to what I'm sharing, please let me know. Okay. Okay. Next is one thing that come to my mind of the three characteristics. Okay. Very shortly, this is a different perspective to look at the three characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Impermanent. Normally, we look at it as quite often we have a little bit of a nihilism or cessation trying to cease things. But actually, impermanent anicca is just things keep changing. It's energy transforming from one form to another form to another form. And dukkha, you can say that is actually the friction when energy moves from one form to another form. Because we have this delusion of a self, so we cause friction. The energy cannot transform fully from one form to another. So like, for example, the solar energy we captured on the panel, it's not transformed 100% to run mechanical energy to run the car because there's a loss of energy. So similarly, when energy, if it can transform fully from one form to another, then it flows smoothly. But because it cannot transform fully, it will get stuck. And this stuck is because of this delusion of the self cause this friction called representing the dukkha. And this delusion of the self is the anatta. If you can somehow keep seeing that this self-identity is a delusion, not real, then you lessen the friction and you go to the Newton law of motion, that whatever that moves will continue moving, whatever that's stationary will continue stationary. Then you reach the unconditioned state of Nibbana. So this is another perspective to look at the three characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay. Okay. So last week I have been reading different cases of mental illnesses. I will continue reading that. But I just want to summarize that all these mental illnesses or whatever chronic pain we have is inability to see the role of thoughts, or we can say misunderstanding of how thoughts work. As we grow older, we have a lot of ideas, a lot of overthinking, and a lot of misunderstanding of how thoughts work. We think that our problems come from outside. That's the biggest problem. Okay. If you can, I always emphasize that if you can see that all our problems, all our stress don't come from outside, but comes from our thinking of what's going on. So actually, there's no, someone asked, Bhante, there's internal stress. What about external stress? Stress given by my boss. There's no external stress. All stress are internal because every experience we have, including stress, is through our thoughts, which is actually our interpretation of what's going on in the world. So we don't experience the world, we don't experience the boss, we experience our thoughts about the situation, about the boss. So this is one thing we got to keep reminding ourselves again and again, which means that if we are in pain, it's not someone outside slapping us, it's our own hand slapping us. And the other thing I keep emphasizing, we feel that we are not done enough, is that we are not aware enough, is that we have natural mental health with us, which means that if you pay attention back towards yourself, you will find it peace and calm. And we can do it now. Put your attention back towards yourself. Normally, we put our attention outside. When you put your attention back towards yourself, you will feel this natural calm and peace in you. If you don't, you feel a lot of thoughts or emotion, or you feel annoyed, don't pay attention to these thoughts or emotion. Pay attention to the background, the space where the thoughts or the emotion arises. When you pay attention to the thoughts or emotion, where the thoughts or emotion arises, you will feel this calm and peace. You will feel this spaciousness, this wideness, boundarylessness. When you feel this boundarylessness, this wideness, being very wide, this limitless, you will feel the calm and peace. So don't pay attention to the thoughts or don't pay attention to the thoughts, and don't pay attention to the emotions. Pay attention to the space where the thoughts or emotions arises. Okay? When you pay attention to the space where thoughts or emotion arises, you will be able to feel this calmness and peace. Okay, any questions on this? This is very important. Okay, Zhen, can you show the slides if you're There's this teenage camp, I think I've announced before. If you have any kids 13 to 18 years old, please let them know there's this camp going on from the 1st January next year to 4th January. The closing date is middle of December, middle of this month. Okay. So please let any teenager that you know about this camp. There's a lot of games, water games and so on, and there'll be Dhamma session in between. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, next two slides are some of the things that I realized that important for us to realize in our life. So I have to keep stressing that although there's external world that exists, our experience of this external world only arises when our consciousness and the world collapse into a single shared reality. Originally, there's many infinite possibilities, but when our mind and the world comes together, it collapses into one reality, and it's heavily influenced by our interpretation of the world. Okay, so the world can be good or bad, or let's say it could be very good, but if our interpretation is bad, it will be bad. So heavily dependence on our interpretation, but not 100%. Okay, of course, the world also will affect us because it's two happening together. So there's a sutta called the All. Sabha means all, Sabha Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya 35. And Buddha asks what bhikkhu is all, everything. Everything, basically your whole life is the I and visible object come together. It's not these two come together and then consciousness. It's three happening together. I forms and the consciousness is together. Ear, sound and the consciousness. Nose, audios, consciousness. Tongue, taste, consciousness. Body, textile objects, consciousness. Mind, mental phenomena, consciousness. This is the all. Okay. So basically, is each of the senses coming together with the corresponding object. Basically, the world and you come together and collapse into one reality. And this is life. So it's both together. But I keep emphasizing one side because we are always too much the other side. We always blame it's the external world that create our experience. So we have to adjust more towards this side. That this part, the mind, plays a bigger role. Okay, next slide, please. The last slide. So the world is real as in we can experience it like in a dream. Whatever you experience, the monster chasing you, it's a real experience, although the monster is not real. So our daily life is real. The experience is real as in we are really experiencing. It's not real as in it's not solid. It's all made out of thoughts. And where does Buddha say this? Is in Kachanagata Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 12:15. This word Kachana, for the most part, Buddha is talking to Kachana, one of the disciples. This word Kachana, for the most part, depends upon a duality. Okay, we always think that either something exists or don't exist upon the notion of existent or non-existent. We don't know in between. For us, it's have or totally don't have. Okay. For one who sees the origin of the world as it really is with correct wisdom, that means if you can see how things arise, there is no notion of non-existence. You won't say it doesn't exist. It's like if you can see that the self-operating, you can't say that there's no self totally. Okay, there's no permanent self, but you can't say there's no self totally. You cannot say it's nothing. There is a self that keeps changing. And for one who sees the cessation of the world as really is, with correct wisdom, there's no notion of existence regard the world. When you see everything that arises, like the self keep changing, keep ceasing, you cannot say it really exists. So you cannot say something really exists or don't exist. That's the difficulty. We only want to hold on to exist or don't exist. But actually, it's not really exist or don't exist. Oh, okay. Someone say this is interesting. That I saw a documentary about astronauts when they saw Earth from space, they felt the emptiness and selflessness. Yeah, because when you see how insignificant you are, you don't take this self as so important. But you must not move towards nihilism, nothing. It was totally different from their thinking and expectation, just my sharing. Yeah, thanks for the sharing. Okay, next. Thanks for the slides, Zizhen. You don't need the slides. Thank you. Okay, I will continue some points which I think important. One of the problem we have normally is we focus too much on our problems instead of focusing on our innate health or aliveness. Example is, I know one yogi friend who can even get upset with the doctor when the doctor says she's healthy, there's no problem with her. Because to her, it's always looking for a problem. Okay. And yogi is someone who actually training their mind. They should know, no, it's the mind that is causing the problem. It's not the body. But we insist that it's the body. Okay. So if you try to live from the space of mental health instead of problem, you will see more mental health instead of problem. Because whatever direction you look, that's what you see. Now, if you look in front of you, you will see your screen and you see my face, my image. If you look at the back, you will see something else. So if you look towards the direction of mental health, you'll keep seeing mental health. Okay. And if your mind's at peace, then you will not experience that much mental problem. The other problem is the more we want to control our mental problems or our health problems and so on, the more we'll be lost in the maze of problems. Okay. What we have to do is we have to relax and stop trying to maintain our thoughts regarding the problems. So if you keep focusing on problems, you get more and more problems. These are some summaries from the stories which I will continue reading afterward. Last week, I read some of the case study stories of different mental health and how they solve it by changing the way they think about it. Okay, so one of the problems we have is fear, and fear creates more and more insecurity. But you cannot try to manage this fear because it will feed more insecurity. Basically, we have to not believe these fearful thoughts as reality. Another thing about addiction is all addiction, whether addiction to food, cigarette, drugs, they are not the problem. The object like cigarettes are not problem. They are the solution to overthinking. So someone is addicted to cigarette because they cannot stop this overthinking. So they use cigarette as a solution. If you can help them solve their overthinking, then they don't need cigarettes. I always give the example of my brother's friend who chain smoker cannot stop the habit, but once he tasted meditation where he can find a peace of mind that solves the overthinking, he don't need the cigarettes anymore. Okay. So when you change the way you think, you change your consciousness, and the world you live in will shift in a new world. So that's why when you reach first stage of sainthood, your whole perspective of the world change. They don't need to make effort to keep their precepts. Okay. Okay, one important thing is, I answered this last week also. Some people will say, Bhante, you say the whole world is a reflection of your thoughts. How come I want only good things happen, but sometimes bad things happen? When I say everything is a reflection of your thoughts, I didn't say that you can control your thoughts. You are in charge of your thoughts, but you cannot control. It's like you are in charge of your dog, but you cannot control the dog from, shitting or peeing into other people's place and so on, or the dog biting other people, passerby and the neighbor and so on. You basically, one word you can use is you are in charge, you have dominant over your dog, you have dominant over your mind, your thoughts, but you have no full control. So there's a difference. So it's basically, it's not fully up to you, but it's also not up to you, because you have a choice which thoughts to pay attention to. Okay. So everything that happens here in the mind. There is no really external world. The external world is inside. The world out there is inside your mind. So the key thing I keep emphasizing is, if you can see the world out there is inside your mind, it's a reflection of the thoughts, and thoughts are not real, all the problems solved. Because what is just thoughts. What isn't is all your imagination of whatever is happening out there. Okay. When you don't take the thoughts as real, then problem solve. But it can be many way where you don't take thoughts of will. So I'm sharing 3 case studies where people stop thinking about something and the problems, there's no more problem. But how people stop thinking about that problem can be many, many ways. Okay. So these 3 cases is about 3 professionals who have problems with their boss and colleague. So the first one have a lot of problems with the boss and colleague until someone told this person that the last person in your position also is treated the same way. And suddenly she had this idea that it's not it's not a problem because it's the boss is the problem and she don't have problem anymore. Doesn't have problem anymore as in doesn't have problem why the boss treat me like this, why the colleague treat me like this. Doesn't mean she might stay on with the job or might not stay on. Okay. But sometimes, like this lady, she didn't know her problem is solved because she stopped thinking about it. And she stopped thinking because of a logic that, since the last person in my position was treated the same way, the boss is the problem, not me. So I don't need to think about it. Second person have a lot of problem again with the boss. And then someone tell this person that don't let your boss or other people run your life. And suddenly she snapped out of it and didn't have problem with the boss anymore. Didn't have problem as in didn't have a lot of thinking about the boss. Okay. The third person, again, have a lot of problems with the boss and was told that your boss is just an emotional vampire that sucks energy from you. Hearing that, she stopped thinking about it and didn't give her problem. Didn't give problem doesn't mean you continue working in a company. You might not like to work with a boss. You might think there's a better work out there in another place and so on. Okay. So okay, I will continue reading. Oh, okay. One more thing is it is also something new to me. We only have an idea that, let's say, for example, we think something is unfair. That's because we have this concept of unfairness. If you don't have this concept of unfairness, actually, we don't have this feeling of unfairness. There's something for us to contemplate. It doesn't mean that we might not do anything. Okay, let's say someone treat us badly. We might, in a job, let's say the boss treat us badly in a job. We might leave or not leave. But we wouldn't get lost in this, why I'm treated so unfairly and so on, if you don't have this word unfairness. So it's something for us, it's something new that I was introduced to. And this is following on, you all might not be aware that when the Red Indians in America first saw the boat, Christopher Columbus boat coming, they didn't see the boat actually, because they have no concept of boat. Only when the boat arrived very close to the shore, then only they saw the boat, because they have no idea of boat, so they can't see. So similarly, if you don't have the idea of what is unfairness, you don't have this idea of bad, then you don't really experience it. Something for us to contemplate. So it's basically, if you don't have this lens of unfairness in your spectacle, you won't see unfairness. Because you have this lens, you might keep seeing it. So this is, I'm not asking you to force yourself not to see. I'm saying that a lot of our ideas and all that causes us to view the world in a different angle. Okay, any questions or sharing regarding this before I read continue reading case studies from last week? Last week I was reading from the book called Beyond Diagnosis by Hannah Studley. Hannah spells Chana, which is many different case studies on how people with severe mental issues become cured very quickly, or sometimes not all very quickly, but some over some time, when they just understand how the mind works. As in, they understand 2 things only. One, that they are naturally mentally healthy. Number 2 is whatever we experience is a reflection of the thoughts. We are not experiencing what's out there. We are experiencing what's happening in our mind. Okay. So This next case study, okay, please stop me if you have any questions or sharing. This next case study is saying that our level of pain is dependent on what's going on in our mind, not just depending on what's happening in the body. Okay, so this Hannah was talking to saying that I have a conversation with a client once who has a congestive heart failure. I guess that was not going to get better and was giving her a permanent pain level. When I met her, she spent 45 minutes telling me a story of how the doctors get her the wrong medicine. Basically, she was complaining. Her son doesn't come to visit, the nurses are mean to her, her aides are cheating her, and no one cares, etc. So I asked, I is the psychologist, Hannah Stutley. On a day when everything's going well, that means everything flows smoothly for you, that means a good day, what's your pain level like? And she said, probably a 5 or a 6. 0 means nothing, no pain. 10 means very painful, worse. I then asked her, that means she's saying that, if everything goes smoothly in her life, that means she feels good mood lah. Then her pain feels like 5 or 6. And then I asked her, what's it like on a bad day? She responded angrily. Oh, it's like 15, it's off the chart. So I asked, wouldn't you rather have 5 or 6? Because you have a choice on which thoughts you pay attention to. You have no control over your body pain, but you have a control over your perception of the body pain. So immediately when she asked this, this patient, for a split second, I could see that she got it. She as the patient got it. There is the pain and there's our thinking about the pain. So our pain and thinking about the pain is two different things. Our feeling of the pain is dependent on the thinking of the pain. Sadly, she didn't want to hear it because she was innocently invested in the story of everyone else being wrong. So quite often, we might see this, that our problem comes from our thinking about pain, but we don't want to accept it because we rather blame everyone. We would rather get lost in our story. So yes, some things are reversible, but our thinking about it actually create the experience. So this is one case. Okay, next one. Okay, this one is about a person who sort of suddenly got very sick, okay? But actually suddenly doesn't happen overnight. It's our overthinking become more and more and more and more, we didn't realize it. And she tried to solve it by doing a lot of research, a lot of reading and so on, and trying very, very hard to solve it until she met a psychologist who says, what if the problem is you are trying too hard? Okay, so let me read this. So this person is called Pallavi. Okay, so for some reason, I always thought the world is weird. I was searching for something that makes sense at quite an early age. That means she's thinking a lot. She's trying to find meaning in life. I learned about meditation, Reiki, psychology. She tried to learn a lot of things because she's searching. I'm not saying searching is not good, but in her mental state, this person is thinking a lot. I didn't have any acute problem. I simply felt exploring these areas and my life was going okay, except the usual up and down. And then one day I got sick. Pretty much from one day to another, I started having a very bad attack of back pain, impossible to stand up. And for the first time in my life, I didn't get better as people usually do. Developed chronic pain condition diagnosed as fibromyalgia, pain constant and debilitating. You have to lie down, rest 4 times a day to get the pain to a bearable level. Very restricted, no running, no dancing, no cleaning, no cooking, and so on. Basically, totally cannot do anything. Okay, tried everything: therapy, diet, healing technique, psychotherapy. Even husband and her split up for a while. Maybe trying to solve maybe the husband, thinking maybe something was wrong with the relationship, and no, it wasn't. They're still married now. Okay, some things help a bit, but nothing make a difference. At the same point, I came across the research about the brain, how chronic pain works. I mean, she started reading more and more. I understood the problem wasn't really to do with the body, was my nervous system. And somehow I got stuck in a constant flight or fight mode, keep my body from getting better. And then I bought a lot of books, join online clubs, try all techniques given out. Using chronic pain, that's nothing to do with physical body. I got less scared of pain, but all the techniques to stop pain didn't really help. Okay. I felt I had done all that before for years, meditation and breathing, all sorts of things to try. I was also able to, okay, and there was so much tension and stress in constant trying. I tried so hard to not be, and then try hard to be not stressed. She's very stressed because she tried very hard to solve her chronic pain, and then she try very stressed not to be stressed. And I had the breathing tracker that started vibrating when my breathing got too shallow, and also track, whether she's breathing too shallow or not. One day I complained about all this in the Facebook group, and then Hannah Stati, which is the author, asked, what if the problem is all the trying? And that comment was the beginning of her journey to understand the three principles. Three principles is basically what I'm sharing with you, that we have natural health and that whatever we experience is made out of thoughts. I got into a chat with Hannah, which is the author, look up her website, and then got a Zoom call with her. In the first call, she heard something, some realization, something new, something that made a difference. I had insight. I can't remember what it was, but I still remember the feeling of wonder. Sometimes we might have an insight, but we cannot describe the insight. Description not so important. Important is our life suddenly change because the way we look at it changes. The freedom of realizing that anything can change in an instant. After the Zoom call, my husband asked me what we talk about, and I couldn't tell him. He went out to see some friends, and I stayed at home in my couch, savoring, that means enjoying the newfound feeling of freedom and peace. She suddenly had a realization of freedom and peace. During the next few days, I had more Zoom call. I felt so excited. Finally, there was something new, something makes sense. When the program with her ended, I realized that we hadn't once talked about my childhood, about the divorce of my parents, about the usual stuff you go on and on about therapy. So normal therapy, we always try to look for the problem and get more and more problem. So she's saying that with her sessions with Hannah, the author, there's no talking about what is your problem from childhood, why you have this, and so on, trying to look for source and all that. It's more on focusing on the mental health now, to be present now, and focusing and seeing that it's the overthinking that keep causing us locked in the chronic pain. This was different. We talk about mind and how it works. We talk about life itself and how it works. Finally, I found someone who talk about what to me looks like the real question. What's going on here and how does it work? I fell in love with this beautifully. In a way, simple teaching holds so much depth and wisdom. So many things become clear to me. I wasn't one of the people who got rid of the pain immediately. It doesn't mean that she suddenly have no more pain. What changed was my experience of the pain. That's important. Suddenly I experienced deep peace and happiness in the middle of the pain. And I started realizing that the feeling of despair I had experienced for so long couldn't actually come from the pain. So you suddenly realize that despair doesn't come from pain. They had come from my thinking about the pain. Or to be more accurate, from me believing in my low mood thinking. A lot of things started changing. My relationship seemed easier and more loving. I realized how tough and rigid I've been with myself. For the next 2 years or so, I completely immersed myself in this teaching, listening to a lot of talks, listening to Sydney Banks, is the founder of this teaching. In a lot of areas in my life, it was quite easy for me to see something new and to see these principles in action. Regarding the pain, I struggled with some sticky beliefs and judgment about myself, causing me to hear even the kindest remarks of coaches and teachers as stressful. So because of our thoughts about the pain, we make a lot of interpretation about what people say about it, and we struggle. I had been doing well for a while, enjoying all the newfound wisdom and insight, and then fall into a crisis of attack of severe pain, thinking there's something wrong with me. Because I've been doing it right, the pain would have gone by now. So this is another mistake. We think that if we do right, then the pain will disappear suddenly. No, it's not about pain disappearing. It's about changing our relationship with the pain. We don't get despair over the pain. We don't get pain over the pain, which is the more important. So we don't suffer the pain. And then at some point, the struggling stops. So this struggle with the pain stop. It wasn't one special moment. It was accumulating of learning, seeing something new again and again. The pain become uninteresting. And in a way, without me noticing it, it become less and less. And if there was a bad day, I didn't care anymore. It stopped meaning anything. So we don't give meaning to a bad day. It doesn't mean I'm doing it wrong. It was just a bad day. And I use my common sense to take good care of myself. So the problem with us also is when we have bad day, we give a lot of meaning to it. That means we are doing wrong, we are hopeless, we are useless, and so on. So she don't give meaning anymore. And now it's now about 4 years since I met Hannah, the author, and I'll be forever grateful for her patience, perseverance in pointing everyone who is willing to listen in a new direction. It changed my life. I'm not 100% pain-free. It's important to know. But the difference is like day and night. And maybe the best thing, the thing that helped me most is that I found what I found is worth so much more than just being pain-free. I found a glimpse of my true nature of who I really am. I now truly know that the pain was a love letter from God, as Dr. Bhante put it beautifully. That means the pain is just something for us to wake up call to learn something. Okay, Vincent, sorry.
Yeah, Bhante, the pain you're talking about, is it physical, mental, or
Physical pain. I read in the
physical
beginning she
pain?
has a very severe chronic back pain. Impossible
Back
even
pain.
to stand up.
Ah,
The back pain so painful that she has to lie down. She can't stand up at all.
so this is caused by, you mean all those stress? Is that what you're saying?
No, the pain could be caused from something. This it's called there's a disease name called fibromyalgia. What I'm saying is the thinking make it worse and worse and worse.
Oh, I see.
Not the thinking causes it. Thinking
Hmm.
actually maybe a bit of thinking causes it because in the beginning it hadn't suddenly happen. She suddenly one day find that her back so painful she can't stand up. It has to do with the body, but it has to do with the mind also. I won't say just to do with the mind, but her condition become worse and worse and worse because she keep focusing on it more and more.
I see. Okay, another question, back to your earlier case about being treated unfairly.
Okay, yeah.
Are you saying that we should ignore? Because if I have
No,
been
no,
treated
I'm not saying that ignore. I'm saying that we know what to do. Let's say if we should earn 2,000, okay, and the boss
okay,
gives us 500 ringgit only per month, squeeze us
okay,
because just want to bully us, okay.
okay.
If we cannot talk with the boss out of it, then we might just move to another company. But most of us will spend a lot of time. Stupid boss, so unfair. How come the world is so unfair? So world so bad to me. That doesn't help.
Okay, okay.
But
That
I'm
means
saying that, and also we don't have this concept of unfairness. We just do. If we don't have this concept of unfairness, we won't have sitting in a coffee shop blaming the world for unfair and so on. We just do what needs to be done.
yeah. But if you have been treated unfairly, I feel that it's very obvious. Even a kid will know that he has been treated unfairly.
Yeah, then they will know what to do. But most of us has this label, and then
Ah,
we
okay,
and then
okay.
we get very upset with this label.
Ah, I see, I see.
That's what I'm trying to say. Then your world will be very different if you don't have this label. Something to
Okay,
contemplate. I'm not asking you to do, but something to contemplate. I never thought this way. That no, if
okay.
you don't have this label unfairness, your life will be different. But now, because you have this label unfairness, you will look at a newspaper, you will look at, oh, so unfair, this person. Oh, so unfair, this person also kena. Yeah. You get what I mean? No? It's like if I tell you, actually, there's a lot of red car, and then suddenly you go out, you keep seeing red car, but actually, already, there is red car.
Yeah, yeah. It's the trick of the mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to say, but I never thought of this because someone introduced me that if you don't have unfairness as a filter on your spec, you might not see unfairness. You might not experience this bad feeling of unfairness.
Mm. Okay,
Okay.
okay. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Vincent. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any questions or sharing? Okay. Let me I want to, there's a few cases that I want to talk, but I want to jump a bit. There's one very interesting about diagnosis. Okay. So we always think that, let's say if a doctor gives us a diagnosis that you have, let's say cancer, okay, we treat it as, that's us. I am a cancer victim. But we never think that that diagnosis is you at that point only, not you permanently. So, okay, I read out, then you understand what I mean. Okay. So this Hannah, the author, was saying, Judy, I once heard you say that a diagnosis is like having your photo taken on your worst day. Okay. It's like on your worst day, we take a photo of you, like you look really haggard and down, then I take a photo of you. You have been sick with flu, your hair is in a mess, you have a pimple on the end of your nose, you have missed out on your promotion at work because you're homesick, and someone bang into your car without leaving a note. Someone takes a picture of you and say this is going to be your ID photo for the rest of your life. And you're like, no, that's just how I felt on that one day. A diagnosis is not who we are. At best, it describes how we felt at that one moment when we see the doctor. So it's something for us to contemplate. I'm not saying that don't care, don't accept or don't care about your diagnosis. I'm saying that diagnosis is just telling you what's happening to your body at that moment when that test is done. So if at that moment you have a really bad day, your hair is messed up, your car got banged, you have a pimple on your nose and you have flu and so on, definitely that's not you for the rest of your life. That's you at that moment. Okay, so this is something for us to think. Okay, this I like this. Okay, next one is also interesting. Is okay, so this author was talking to someone, I think it's JB, Joe Beatty, who has seen who has counseled many cases on mental illness using what I share with you, okay, which is Joe Beatty, which is you telling people that they have innate mental health, natural mental health, and that whatever they experience is a reflection of their thought. So he asked this Joe Bailey to give an example, any example that people get cured. So he just say, I will tell one story. Bill was a gang leader. He murdered people. He was a drug dealer and was in prison. Was prison many years, was head of the prison, and he was like godfather in the prison. If you want drugs, you go to Bill. Okay, he's half Native American, half African American. His whole identity, that means those are very big size. Normally, Native American and Native African American is very big size. Okay, he had been through treatment many times in prison, out of prison, treatment for drugs and so on. Okay, and he always relapsed and went to a lot of therapy, always relapsed and didn't work. So now skip all this. Okay, and then Joe Bailey was saying that there's a police officer in this area which deal with gangs that like people like Bills, and then this area where Bill, this guy just now described, and the police officer stays, there are a lot of gangs, and there was a police officer called Ed Lemon, and when he heard this talk about the principles, the talk this about what I share with you, this tough cop come into his Joe Bailey's office and say, "This is all crap. You can't do like this." And Joe Bailey asked him to have a cup of tea, and they started talking. This police officer was very curious, and finally he understand. He caught on this principle. He started working with gangs and kids, and then he introduced this to this guy Bill, which I say just now, the gang leader. And this Bill hasn't relapsed since then. He's now one of the most generous human beings I've ever met. His whole life was devoted to helping people recover through the principles. Principles means like what I say, all your experience is reflection of the thoughts, and you have innate natural mental health. He's really the embodiment of someone who can walk to bring the message of the principle to the people and have gained understanding of it. He has impacted thousands of people, and now they're working with homeless populations in the twin cities, which has huge alcohol and drug problem. So it's one of the example of how someone who is a hardcore criminal also can change and start helping other people with drug addict. He kick his drug addiction and help people with the drug addiction. So by simply changing the way you look at life, that every single experience we have is a reflection of our thoughts. Okay, any questions? There's a comment by Vincent. It takes very clear and strong mind to overcome life issues. To me, it takes a willingness. It's not about strong mind. It's about, are you willing to be open to see life in a different way? Some people are not willing. Then, like I give the example of this lady who saw that her pain level is depending on her mood, her mental state. She have a glimpse, but she don't want to see it. She prefer to blame the whole world. The world sucks, everyone is bad, and so on. So it's a willingness to change, willingness to be open, because it's a radical shift to see that whatever we experience is a reflection of our thoughts, our mind, instead of outside. It's a huge, huge paradigm shift, which a lot of people cannot accept. Any other questions or sharing that you have? Okay, I'll read one more story. Please do ask questions or sharing if you have. And stop me if I go too fast. Okay, because I don't want to go too much in detail. I just want to give roughly the idea of all these cases. So this lady has, the next case has, okay, again, I want to emphasize the reason I share with you all these cases is if someone who has such difficult mental illness can get cured, then all our problems are Mickey Mouse problems compared to all these. Then definitely you'll be solved. Okay. So this one is someone who says has special connection with the mountain and snow, born in the North Germany. No, okay. Oh no, say he was born in North Germany where it's flat. She's flat land kid. But one day suddenly went skiing, okay, and then had a crash, and that day changed her life. She suffered from dizziness, pain in the cervical spine, tinnitus, the ringing in the ear, which caused panic attacks and anxiety disorder. The noise in my head keep me awake at night, constantly nervous because of overtiredness and desperate of being like this for the whole life, because keep hearing ringing sound in the ear after that accident in the snow. Okay, my mother lived with me for half a year because I was constantly anxious. Would started crying during a walk in the woods because I couldn't hear the beautiful silence of nature anymore. She only hear ringing and ringing sound only. Within a year, I looked for help in forums, people affected by tinnitus, where people complain about their suffering, read many stories. They tried for years to get rid of the disease. They not successful. Some terribly desperate. They saw no more sense in life. On one hand, I felt a relief. I was not alone. After reading all these stories, felt relief that's not alone. On the other hand, give more anxiety. Okay, so it's a struggle. When you hear many people like this, you think that I'm not alone, I'm happy. But after that, you also feel, I might not get, lost. I might not be able to get out from it. On the one hand, then I felt okay. I had an MRI of the cervical spine before surgery. They asked, so the doctor suggested surgery, but she refused. They look at me. Okay, the ear specialist that was not able, that my ear left staples, the left part of the ear cannot hear properly. He was convinced after surgery the tinnitus was solved. But no, she decided not to go on with the surgery. They tried putting device to get the sound away, to reprogram the sound, but it was too painful, so she stopped. They tried many things, using different medicine to solve the pain and all that. Then went to psychiatric treatment, relaxation program, meditation, muscle relaxation, antidepressants. Worked for a while, but after that, she started developing suicidal thoughts, makes it worse. And she feel that wanted to put an end to all this miserable situation. And on the journey but slowly, did help a bit, went up, down, up, down. After along my journey of healing journey, I tried many methods. EFT, which is an emotional freedom technique, tapping, emotional code, breathing exercise, shamanic journey, Reiki, trauma. Some work, some might not, but it's difficult to keep doing it. Okay, and you keep searching for perfect healing method. Then she stumbled into the three principles, okay, which is what I shared with you all. I didn't understand it at all, but I felt something in it for me. I listened to the stories of people who have changed since they learned about the understanding. The first important realization I had was I'm perfectly okay. So to me, this is an important realization that we are actually perfectly okay. We are not a problem. It's our thinking that causes problem. I started to notice when I was getting caught up in my fears, she realized how she caught up in the fearful thinking. Indicators are speeding in my head, getting sensation, my heart racing, sweating, urgent thinking about which specialist I should go to. I knew it was time for me to slow down. So every time she's overthinking, now she know that it's just overthinking, just need to slow down. I've been struggling for so long and fighting, just create more battles. But I was tired, didn't want to go through more any process by dissolving belief or guilt. It was relieving to see that I have innate perfect well-being underneath all the worrying and fearful thinking. So I keep stressing that if you can see and realize for yourself that you have innately healthy, perfect underneath all this worry and thinking, then it helps a lot because you have this confidence. Somehow I trust is true to me. It's so relieving to no longer have to ask myself what my illness was trying to tell me about myself. So the illness, we try to give interpretation. Nowadays, I see the thoughts as thingy thoughts. It's like we make it into a thing. I forget about them whenever my focus is on something more interesting. I don't check on them anymore, give them much attention. If it happened and I hear them, I'm not afraid of the experience. Okay, so the important thing is not afraid of the thoughts. The tinnitus don't scare me anymore. Still have ringing in the ear, but don't scare me anymore. No life-threatening rumors in my head. I also notice that this pain show me what state of mood I am, high mood, low mood, stressful or quiet mind. When I notice it enough, then most of the time, when I notice that I'm lost in thinking, I'll go back to the presence and peace. I'm not limited by my circumstances. I'm grateful to learn the inside-out understanding because I almost miss the beauty of life itself. When I see a tiny butterfly in the woods, I can hear the beautiful silence of nature again. So can you hear the silence? Okay. This is basically when she suddenly saw that she don't have to believe her thoughts, the thoughts don't bother her anymore. Doesn't mean the thoughts stop. Doesn't mean her ringing in the ears stop. It's just that the relationship between her and the ringing of the ears is not so bad anymore. Okay, someone asked, Wandami Sayado Bhante, I want to ask, how can I help someone who have addiction in gambling? He said want to make change and asked me to help him. Then I am a bit puzzled how to help him. They have addiction in gambling is because they have a lot of this overthinking in them and they don't want to pay attention to this. So to me, the important thing is to keep telling them two things. Okay, before that is we ourselves have to live these two things first so that when we talk to that person, we are here now, we are alive, we are present, so that we talk in the state of presence, alive to that person. Okay. Then the two key thing is one is we are innately mentally healthy. We have this mental health inside us, innately calm and peaceful. If you can't feel it, put your attention to yourself, you'll feel this calm and peace. If you still can't, don't pay attention to your thoughts or emotion. Put attention to the space where thoughts or emotion arise. You will feel this calmness. So this is the first thing. Second thing is, every single experience we have is a reflection of our thoughts. If you're angry, because we have angry thoughts. If you're sad, we have sad thoughts. So try to explore these two principles. But first, you have to make connection with this person first. Your own self has to live these two Dhamma that I share, and then you make connection with this person first before you try to share anything with him. Okay, one last question is Vincent's question. Sorry, what are the three principles again? I never explained what are the actual these three principles represent, but the teaching of the three principles, I won't go into detail, but it's about number one, we have innate mental health. That means we are naturally healthy. We have this calm and peace inside us. This is number one. Number two is whatever we experience is a reflection of our thoughts. Okay, this is not what the three principles stands for, but this is what the three principles is about. In this case, what would you say is the life lesson for the victim? The life lesson is our suffering, pain don't come from whatever happening to our body. It comes from our thinking of what's happening in our body. Okay, any last questions before we finish? Okay, if not, again, announcement one is if you have teenage kids, please introduce them to the teenage camp 1st to 4th January 2026, which is 1 month, less than a month away from now. The closing date is middle of, which is 1 whole week away. Second announcement is next two sessions, which is 12 and 19. There are no sessions. It's cancelled. Okay, we will see you when we see you. Share merits with all beings, all family members, relative friends, especially departed family member, relative friends, ancestors. Make aspirations, always with the wise, avoid the foolish, be free from great hatred delusion. Etawata camehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe dewa numodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Etawata camehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe buta numodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Etawata camehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe sata numodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame niatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame punyang asawa kaya wahang hotu. Idame punyang nipana sa pacayo hotu. Mama punya bagang sabasatanang pajemi. Te sabe me samam punya bagang labantu. Sadu, 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 suki hotu. Have a good weekend. Continue to explore the Dhamma and daily drama.